podcast, and I'm 20 minutes late. But I'm dripped. This is like a rare podcast experience. I'm dripped out.
Wearing the college shirt.
Dude,
flag.
if Reeves was here, he would be calling me stats professor. We all know. I mean, I'll show you.
True.
It's the stats professor look.
Yeah, you do.
You know? I've definitely worn this exact outfit before.
Dude, walking to John.
You wear that exact same thing.
This is like all I wear. It's like this, and then I have like another like kind of dark bluish like button-up shirt. It's like I have two button-up shirts that I wear with these tan slacks. That's pretty much it.
Bro, all you need is a briefcase. You can walk into John or College Hall and be like, "Hi, I'm the assistant professor," and then just sit down and just start talking about something random.
You know the awesome
no one
thing.
will give you a second guess.
You know the awesome thing about my workflow is I don't need a bag. I just like carry my water bottle and tablet, and I don't need a backpack. I mean, I do my whole life on my tablet. It's like, why bring a bag?
Honestly.
Huh?
The bag is a necessity.
The bag's a necessity if you have more than two things.
No,
I have a tablet and a.
The look.
I don't give a crap about the college look.
It's not. It's just like the aesthetic, you know. Like if you carried around like a briefcase or something, you would look so badass. Even if it just had your tablet.
You know what's funny is I used to use a briefcase when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I carried all my crap in a briefcase, and then I bought a.
Makes sense.
Well, it used to be a briefcase, and then I found this really cool product called Rocketbook. It's basically a paper notebook, but you write with like Pilot friction pens, like the erasable pens in the Pilot like line, and they have like QR codes and 7 symbols on the bottom of each page. And if you get their special app, you can scan each page, and when you mark a symbol on the bottom of the page, you can map those symbols in the app to different cloud storage locations, and it will automatically upload your notes to those cloud storage locations. So that's how I used to be digital with my notes, is I would handwrite notes in physical notebooks with physical pens, and then put my notes in the cloud. The whole reason I say this is because then
I think I have one of those.
The Rocketbook,
Like
they're
the
called
notebook.
Rocketbook.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're awesome. I used to love them, and then I got a tablet, and then it's like, why do I have a Rocketbook? It's like literally I could just actually write it there.
Loki, maybe I should start using those. That would actually be kind of
The Rocketbooks are hype. I would let you borrow one / keep one if you wanted another.
I think I have one. I think I just need to find it.
They're so good. Anyways, the whole reason I say that is because when I was in high school, I literally had like 4 of them. I don't know why I had 4, but I had 4. I love that product. You really only need one. Yeah, we started. I hit record.
Okay.
I said we start. Dude, I did the little jingle. You were like, we're starting the podcast, and I was 20 minutes late because I was working church, and the service went long. I literally did the whole jingle at the beginning.
You didn't even
I
say
thought
hello.
that was like
Hello,
a
folks.
yes, hello everyone. I totally thought when you were
Dude,
doing that,
you
it was
expect
like
you
a
guys
pre-start.
expect there to be like a good intro to the podcast.
Man, I haven't done the podcast.
Welcome to the pod. Okay, great. Welcome to the podcast, by the way. Welcome to the GleeSpeak podcast. Guys, we've been doing this for a month. This is episode 4. We've been doing this once a week for a month now. This is crazy. Also, we have a new guest. It's Henry. Except Henry?
The second.
Not me. I've been here.
The second Henry. So we've had Henry. We've had Henry before. We've had Henry before. But now we have other Henry. We have 2 Henrys, basically. Glee Club has 2 Henrys. And we have the other Henry on the podcast. So now that we have a new guest, I think we have to do the whole, like, who are you? What's your name? What's your year? What's your major? And what voice part do you sing? Yeah. So the name, year, major, and your voice part.
I am Henry Stone. I'm going into my junior year. I'm a computer science major, and I sing tenor too.
Great. And why are you in Glee? What draws your attention to Glee?
I think it's a really fun. Like, it's just a really good time to be there. I think as somebody that was completely new to like choir whenever I came into college, like the concert choir is just sometimes it's a little bit overbearing, and it's a lot more fun to just relax and sing purely for fun.
Yeah.
And
What, you mean concert choir is not fun? You heard it. You heard it here, folks. Concert choir is not fun. It's terrible.
You're putting words into my mouth right now. I don't really appreciate that.
Dude's gonna get kicked out of concert choir right fast.
Dude, that's so tough. Oh well.
He's not even upset. Look at this man. This man's not even upset. He's not even mad. Anyways, Glee's a great way to relax, and we just kind of mess around. We show up to Christmas concerts in Christmas suits and Christmas trees. Blech. Couldn't talk there for a second.
It's August.
Yeah, it was
But
the
Henry,
legend.
you have a very unique background in music because you, as you mentioned, you don't come from a singing background. So how did you even tell the story about how did you even end up in choir?
So I played a piano for most of my life. I started when I was around 5. And then just played throughout growing up and everything, learned a couple of different instruments. So whenever I was applying to schools and I was like really interested in Gonzaga at the time, I was like, oh, they have a music scholarship. I might as well just apply to it. And like extra money definitely is very appreciated. It's not, it is a pretty expensive school. So I was really wanting to get as much scholarships as I could. So I applied for the piano scholarship specifically in the music, like the piano section of it. And part of the audition, since it was COVID, was I had to have 2 videos and send them in. So I recorded the first one, like, I don't really have another like piano piece that I feel comfortable performing right now. So I'm just gonna play guitar. I picked it up a couple years before, so I just playing guitar and I sang a song. Like at least like showing my musical experience and that like I can't just play one, like I can play more than just one piano piece. Like I'm kind of a musician. And then from that I ended up getting a voice scholarship, and then because of that I had to be in choir. And here we are now.
Hey, you don't regret it.
It has been very fun.
Imagine you played 2 piano pieces. You would have gotten.
Dude, I would have gotten screwed.
You would have gotten no money, and we would not have met.
This is very true.
You have lifelong friends now because of choir. Oh my God, so
Wild.
cliche. So cliche. What's your favorite choir piece you've done so far?
I can't even remember the name of my favorite one. It was like in the very first concert we ever did. And it was this really cool piece that had really interesting harmonies and dissonance between it. And
Oh, that's right. We've
actually
talked
played
of this, and I listed every
was
single song
so
on the
cool.
fall concert,
But
and you
it
said it was
was
none of
those.
them.
It was none of those.
But I listed
And
every
tried
single
to
song
find
we
it,
sang.
But apparently not, because there was one that we did, and I have not. It was either that one or maybe it was the Christmas concert. I can't remember.
It must have been the Christmas
There
concert.
was
it
really
Bethlehem
cool piece we
Down?
did. No, I don't think so. That one was like okay, I don't know. Like it was good, but it's kind of
Because you were like, maybe Christmas concerts. So like Bethlehem Down had some interesting harmonies. What Child Is This had some interesting harmonies.
No, I don't know. I'll find it at some point. But I really like the music whenever it like. Number one, I do appreciate when it's a little bit harder, just a
Yeah.
little bit more fun. But also whenever just like the chords and everything just sound really cool. They give me chills and stuff. And that's what I like. So any of the songs that are like that, then I'm a big fan of.
So like O Manu Mysterium from like last Christmas concert was based.
Yeah, that one was very cool. I was a fan of that one. Whenever we actually sounded good, we kind of fucked it up a little bit. Oh, sorry.
No, you can say that. We decided we could say the word.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
No,
I
we
wasn't
can.
sure.
We can say it.
Okay. Yeah, no.
That's a decision we made. Yeah, honestly, I've been thinking about like all this. I was actually talking about this with someone recently, and I was thinking about like on all the music that I've sung in my life and all the choir music that I personally listen to, because I listen to a lot of like old school Renaissance and stuff like that. And I've never in my life sung what I consider to be a 10. I've never sung it. Never personally had the opportunity to sing a 10. I've gotten very close. And the closest I've gotten was Lorenson's O Manu Mysterium. That was like, maybe like a 9.5 even. Like that was really good, but it's not what satiates my bones, if you know what I'm saying. But
What
that one was
would
really
be-
good.
What would be a 10?
Gregorio
Weird.
Allegri's Miserere would for sure
Okay.
be a 10. I
But
feel like
that
you've had to
one
have heard of
was
that,
like-
Henry, because that's like pretty
I-
rooted in
I don't know that
Catholicism.
one.
Damn.
I'm sorry,
okay.
dude.
It's a double choir piece, so it's 5-part. So it's S soprano 1, soprano 2, alto, tenor, bass, and they sing a verse, and then there's a tenor chant solo, and then the echo is a quartet: soprano 1, soprano 2, alto, baritone, and the soprano 1 sings a high
Cool.
C, and it's so cool. It's sung. It's kind of like asking mercy of God, and it's sung during the Tenebrae services of Holy Week. I feel like I can say that, and you would know what that is, because you're Catholic.
A little bit.
It's like it's sung like between Easter and Holy Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my favorite. That's probably my. That's like a 10. That and that's a 10. Any of Bach's. Oh, that's not true because I sang Messiah last year. Messiah, but that's also like a big work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for me to like count like big works as like the same caliber as like a song. You know what I mean? But I guess if you count big works as the same as a song, I guess the Messiah was a 10 for me. So I have sung a 10 because I sang Messiah last year. Messiah would be a 10, and then any of Bird's masses. He wrote 2 masses, one for 4-part and one for 5-part. I think the 5-part one's a little bit better, but according to history, he liked the 4-part one better. But both of those masses are absolutely stunning Renaissance polyphony that are just, but we would never sing that ever. So most of the stuff that here's the problem. Most of the stuff that I like, Gonzaga doesn't like.
That's unfortunate.
And it's just like we're just never gonna sing this.
95% of people don't know about.
Exactly. Like my favorite composer of all time is William Byrd, who's a Renaissance composer. And so like I'm really niche in Renaissance, but like I don't know. I'm not super big. I don't know much about the contemporary stuff, but like give me Renaissance. I love me some Renaissance. That stuff's good.
That reminds me of something. In choir, I did choir in high school, and like a funny thing about like both my choir teacher or my director and the accompanist, who they were both professional singers for the my city's like choral group called KC Chorale. Anyway, both of them had very, very specific opinions on music. They would, in the middle class, just bring up like pop singers and be like, "Nah, they suck." And they were like, "Nah, we like the classics. We like opera music. This is what it is about." And I'm not saying you're like that, Trevor, but
I'm definitely like that. I'll own it. I'm definitely like that.
Fair enough. Then never mind.
Henry can confirm. I'm definitely like that.
Also,
a little bit like that.
He's being nice. He's trying to not make it look as bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm also like confused when you say Henry, because then I think immediately of
Oh
myself.
yeah, I gotta clarify.
But-
We need to like come up with names for you guys this fall. Like it was really hard to have 2 Henrys last. You guys need names because we have 2 Nicks now too.
True.
And we had Nick, and yeah, he joined. His name's Nick Watson. He joined after you left, but
Yeah.
he's
Nice guy.
he's a nice guy, or now sophomore, but so you're below you, and he's pretty chill. We have 2 Nicks, and they're both tenor 2s.
Yeah. So you can't do like the section thing.
No, you can't even do the
call
section
Henry,
thing.
And you call other Henry tenor.
Yeah, I
Henry.
guess you could call him tenor.
Yeah.
Yeah, tenor Henry and bass Henry, I guess.
'Cause
The
we
Knicks
on
would just
different
call them
areas.
Nick 1 and Nick 2, and they just know what numbers they are.
Who's Nick 2?
Nick 2's Nick Watson.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, about that.
Oh, I'm gonna get railed for this. Nick's gonna listen to this. Nick's gonna listen to this and be like, dude.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, great. Bass Henry and tenor Henry, I guess. Unless, well, I'm
We
sure.
can-
I'm sure when we get back in the
brainstorm
fall.
this.
I'm sure when we get back in the fall, Reeves is gonna have something way better, obviously. So.
Yeah.
I need to talk to Reeves because apparently he plays Magic, and I need to talk to him about this. I might bring up cards if he
Brother
actually
saw the
plays.
channel trailer and was like, hey, yo. And that's all he's seen. I guarantee he's not listened to the podcast.
I have.
Oh, you have?
All the
You're the
episodes?
first person who's listened to the podcast.
Really?
Wait.
Dude.
Dude,
We talked last week, Henry. Other bass Henry. We talked last week about how we opened the podcast with how we don't listen to the podcast. You cannot tell me you're like, wait, you cannot start to defend yourself. We talked about this for 10 minutes.
I just haven't watched every single one because I'm bad at listening to podcasts. Like today, I was doing like a cardio workout, and long story short, I was like hemorrhaging because I just haven't done it in a little bit, and I was like, I need to get something like off my mind because something like, in sports dynamics, if you're able to get your brain out of like feeling tired or feeling like, oh my God, I'm like sweaty, that you can actually you become faster and you get better. Anyway, I was like, you know what? I'll turn on a podcast, and the podcast really worked. So I might do that now.
That's
I'll actually start a
interesting.
podcast.
Honestly, podcasts for cardio is a lot more enjoyable than music because usually whenever I go to the gym and
Yes.
stuff, I'm a huge fan of just listening to music. I listen to so much music, but
Yeah.
like doing cardio, it's just like I just stop listening to the music and just focus like, damn, I really don't want to do this right now.
What I do is kind of funny, because I from a young age I was pretty imaginative, so I kind of use music as a way to hone my imagination. When I was younger, I actually used to write little stories. I don't do that anymore, and no, I will not give you a story, where I show them to anyone. But in that kind of space, I love listening to music, and whenever I listen to music, I always daydream. So I'll turn on like a really intense song, and then I'm just sitting there, just like my brain just goes off to a different world, and then I just 5 minutes later, once the song ends, I'm like, oh damn, like 5 minutes just disappeared because I just
Right.
got really in depth in the music. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes you just can't do that. So yeah, podcasts it
Especially
just
with
kind of
cardio.
yeah, it grabs your brain and you can just focus on that instead of what's going on with your body.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it's a good thing to do. Because after 5 minutes, I was like, you know what? I don't feel bad anymore. I can actually I'm feeling good doing my cardio workout. So yeah,
Do you guys want to hear my
I highly
cardio?
recommend it.
Do you guys want to hear my cardio story from this week? Because I don't work
Go
out, but
for
I
it.
have a cardio story. So I spent the night at my apartment on Thursday night. So I hung out with Uriah and Taylor and Sal and Rod. And Taylor was at rehearsal for Bright Star, and Rod was driving back from Yakima. So me and Uriah and Sal went
Why?
Yeah,
because
why
he
was
was
he in
doing
Yakima?
he has a law he had a law program that he was doing in Yakima, and so once a week he'd have to go to
Okay.
Yakima to do the law program.
I have a
Like a
friend
like a
who
pre it
was
was like
from
it wasn't like
Yakima.
actual, it was like a pre-law thing, but like a
Mhm.
helpful pre-law like course thing for post college people in that transition time.
Yeah. By the way, as a guy that lives outside of Washington, I hear so much about Yakima. It sounds like just this crazy place in the middle of
It
Washington.
kind of
Yeah,
And
is.
one of
Quite
my really
frankly,
good friends is from Yakima, and it's so funny. I guess he's just outside Yakima, but it's really funny. Everyone just dogs on it all the time. And from
I have
someone
never
from
been.
Oklahoma who is often on like the receiving end of people just dogging on where you live, it's kind of funny to get to like experience it and listen to it from another just like city.
this just sounds like
Yeah,
the classic,
it's
like, you don't like it
enjoyable
when it's
too.
done to you, but when it's done to someone else, you'll gladly join in on the fun.
Oh, I don't really care if it's done to me. Like I understand it's Oklahoma. Like I think there's cool things here, but like it's not for everyone.
I
I
agree.
definitely get that.
Washingtonians are so annoying. They're like, oh my God, we have an ocean, we have mountains. Buddy, I live in Missouri. I have my own fun.
I
Y'all
have
assume my
my
life
own
is
fun.
awful. My life
Yeah.
is fine. I do not need Mount Rainier or the sea to keep me happy. I've lived in
Dude,
this
you
part of the
have
country for decades.
Well, you're not
this
20
you
yet,
have
so I
a
wouldn't say you've lived
pond.
here for decades. You can't
No,
say
I
you've
said,
lived
hey,
here.
I was gonna say decades, but then I kind of stopped where the S was, so I said a decade.
It kind of sounded like you said decades.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I was
I
like,
know, I
you're
agree.
definitely not 20. Sorry.
Yeah, and I actually was born in Virginia, so I actually moved to Missouri when I was 4. So so yeah, it's been a while. Anyway, point is, people get on me about living in the Midwest. So when people talk about Yakima, I'm just like, oh, it's just Midwest light.
Exactly.
Pretty much. Okay, I'm gonna go on with my cardio story now. It was a great,
Okay, sorry.
great. So no, it's fine. It's fine. But anyways, so an important key to the story was my family had an early dinner, and I had dinner with my family. So we had eaten at like 5, and then I go to the apartment. We're playing Smash Bros. It's like 7:30. And Sal and Uriah are like, let's go get Denardi's. And I was like, low key, I already had dinner, but Denardi's is fire. I will gladly go get Denardi's and eat a second dinner because that sounds based. So we go to Denardi's and I eat it. And I live in 940, right? So you can picture where Do you know how there's like that parking lot that's kind of like behind 940, but not on Gonzaga's campus? It's like the other side. Does that make sense? Not yeah. So that's where Uriah parks, and Uriah was driving. And so in order to get on campus, right, you have to go all the way around Division and all the way around Lake Kennedy just to get on Sharp and then get out. You know what I mean? It's like you have to do this whole circle. And then to come back, it's the same thing. You have to go all the way out to Division and loop all the way around because of the stupid one-ways just to get back to Park. And I was convinced, after eating 2 dinners, mind you, that I could get from Donardi's to 940 on foot before Sal and Uriah could get from Donardi's to 940 in a car.
I've seen you run. You can do it.
And we tested that, and I won. I beat him by like 20 seconds. The end result was very not pretty.
I can just see you like throwing up in the gravel parking lot.
Well, I made it to my apartment.
God.
I thankfully made it to the apartment.
Okay.
But still, I was like, I literally got out of the bathroom and I was like, I'm still right, by the way. And they were both just like, you were right, but literally at what cost?
It was worth it.
I think it was worth it, honestly. They both thought it wasn't, but I think they're just sore losers because I did beat them, like I suspected. I did make it. It was great by like 20 seconds. It was bass. I listened to Pentatonics the whole way back.
That cannot be good running music. I'm sorry.
No, it was like the Daft Punk medley. It was like hype. I needed like hype stuff to like get me to the end. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's fair. Daft Punk does rock, so I'll give you that one.
I don't know. Me personally, not the biggest Pentatonics fan. I don't think in that situation I would just listen to Daft Punk.
I'm
Yeah.
not a big acapella fan, but for some reason lately I've been listening to a ton of Pentatonics. Like a ton.
Really?
I don't know why, because I don't really care for
I don't know why
acapella.
either.
I'm like the choir dude. I shouldn't be listening to acapella, but I've been listening to a ton of Pentatonics lately. Like I'm low-key a little bit worried they're going to make it into my Spotify Wrapped, and that's going to suck.
That'd be so embarrassing.
Well, you want to know this really embarrassing story about my Spotify Wrapped? My Spotify Wrapped for 2022 was absolutely destroyed because I would listen to lo-fi. I listen to lo-fi to study, and I'll work. You know, I was coding a lot last year. So, like, when you code, Henry knows this. You sit down and you work for, like, 3 hours, just intense. You just go. And lo-fi is just, like, a great thing for me to put on in the background, and I'll just let it play for that whole 3 hours. But I would listen to it on Spotify and not YouTube, and I listen to a lot of choir music, but because I listen to so much lo-fi on Spotify, and I work for longer sessions than I, like, listen to choir music for, none of my choir music made it into my top 5 for artists for Wrapped. And it was like 5, because I play the lo-fi playlist, which is like a bunch of songs from different artists. So it's just like a bunch of artists, so I had no clue who they are. But it's because I listened to so much lo-fi that lo-fi made it in.
I always get worried whenever I'm opening my Spotify Wrapped because for studio, because we had to like memorize the pieces and everything, I'm terrible. I'm really bad and I don't start memorizing.
No, the way I memorize is like you. I listen to it in Spotify.
So like a week and a half at most before like a performance, and I actually have to perform this. I just have to find the song on Spotify with like at least a decent like version of it that I can stand to listen to. And I play it on repeat. I only listen to that song until I can actually have it memorized and get through the song. So it's like even off osmosis, like I will put it in my earbud and fall asleep to it, which I know technically like you're not supposed to do that. I don't really care. It helps me fall asleep to have music and stuff like that. But it plays nonstop, and I am so worried that one time it's going to end up showing on my Spotify Wrapped. One of my
that would be funny
because I just listen to it over and over and over, and I get so tired of it. Anytime that I perform a song, because I learn it sometimes like that, if I'm being really procrastinating, which has happened multiple times, I never want to sing or even listen to that song ever again. It completely ruins it for me. Even if I kind of liked it, I'm like, nah, I can't do this anymore.
Yuck.
So it was always really funny because I had several of those, and then people like in studio would perform the pieces that I had already performed, and be like, "Oh no, not this song again."
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Luckily for me, studio, the song I had, uh, my teacher was like, "You're memorizing this a month in advance, so get ready for that." So I was like, "All right." So I did that.
That's
That
good.
would probably
No,
be good
maybe,
for me.
It's probably good.
yeah. It was an easy song, like it's the first time ever doing studio.
Right.
So, and Dr. Tarver was my teacher, so I think he was just kind of like, "I want to make you work for this, but in like a fair and like, okay, this will help you in the long run type way."
Yeah.
But also on like all the music you guys are talking about is very funny because I have a like liked song playlist on Spotify. It has 4,704 songs.
You
It
like
makes
songs
up.
on Spotify?
Oh
Yep.
yeah, I don't have a single playlist I made. It's just liked songs. I hate
That's a
making
little bit
playlists.
unhinged.
That's weird. I don't
It
even
is.
like songs. I just download. I just like save albums and like make play. I don't
Oh,
ever like a
no,
song ever.
I
I
like the
will.
songs to
I
keep
like the
track of.
songs. I never make playlists. I never did. I've never done it. So I'm all over the board. Like the first. Okay, let's name the first like five that come up. I got Kendrick Lamar, Mount Joy, Celeste, The Bangles, Radiohead,
Wait, you said
Boy
Celeste?
Genius.
Celeste isn't like the singer,
Yeah.
or Celeste isn't like the game
Yeah.
soundtrack?
No.
Because I unironically listen to the game soundtrack on Spotify.
The game soundtrack is pretty big.
Game soundtrack is so good. Sorry, go on.
Like, dude, I'm all over the place when it comes to music. So when people talk about like, oh yeah, I love this genre. Like I guess my genre that I listen to the most is like alt, indie rock, or like rock in general. But dude, I have such a odd, like eclectic view of music that if I like it, I'll just put it on. This 4,000, like almost like 5,000 song. Which by the way, I've downloaded all the songs, so I think it takes up like around 38% of the storage on my phone. But that's not going away. I'm keeping the music. I care about it too much. But it's crazy. I have like Summer Breeze right beside Kanye West.
That's
So
nice. That's good.
I definitely agree. I also like songs, and recently that one, and then also I've been using like the Spotify like DJ or whatever a couple of times.
yeah,
Dude.
But I used to make the playlist a lot more. Like I need to get back into it because it's kind of enjoyable. Like thinking of the different moods and stuff to be able to play each different thing. Like I definitely understand why you wouldn't like it because sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I don't care enough to do this right now. But sometimes I actually go through and like put thought into the songs is really fun.
The Spotify DJ pisses me off.
Why?
It's because I have such a bad taste in music that it's just trying to recommend me new songs to listen to, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to listen to that. Literally, shut up. And so I like tried it for a little bit, and he's got a weird voice. It's like weird. It's like a little sus, and then like starts playing like Newsies, and I'm like, okay, I do like Newsies. Then I click next, and it's like a Broadway musical I've never seen in my life, and I'm like, and I'm done.
And you're just a hater, dude.
yeah.
It's because
he's a
it's because I
hater.
don't have enough of a music taste that doesn't know what to do with my rep that I listen to. That's why I don't like. It's because I have trash taste. That's why.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I don't disagree with that statement at all.
Okay. Cool. One thing I wanted to talk about was Henry. You studied abroad last semester. Well, Henry Stone. You studied abroad last semester, so we missed you.
Yes.
But you got the opportunity to study abroad in Florence, which is kind of sick. So maybe, what was it like studying? I mean, obviously, I've heard about it. I was with you for a little bit of it at the end. But like, what was studying abroad like, and why should people do it?
It was really, really cool. I definitely learned a whole lot. Like, I definitely think that some of the biggest, like, experiences that you get out of it is just, like, it is really different. It's like, I know going up to college is a big jump and you learn a lot from it. Like, so the first time that a lot of people are, like, on their own for a vast majority of their life. But number one, it's probably one of the only experiences you're ever going to have where you're going to get to go live in another country for a prolonged period of time, unless you're lucky enough to be able to have that, get like a line of work that allows you to do that. But it's like super rare that you get the opportunity, and it is, like, you are a completely different country,
Mm-hmm.
different language, different everything. Just having to adapt to everything going on, I feel like is really, really cool, and you learn a lot through that experience and about yourself and how you handle different situations and stuff. Um, but also, if you just are in or like enjoy the different aspects of culture, such like museums, music, anything like that, there's just so much history and like um, knowledge about it whenever you go abroad. That's really cool. So those are what I would definitely recommend. Like, that's why I definitely did it. It's just like the experience of getting to do that, and you learn so much about yourself and different things, but also just the history and stuff there is crazy. Like, it, you're walking around and you just turn a corner, and there's something that like I personally have read about. Like, I've read books about this and stories, and like that's just really, really cool in my opinion.
Or like you learn about it in your history class. Like you learn about the significance of certain buildings or certain statues, and there they are, like
Mm-hmm.
in like the actual thing that you would learned about is just there.
Yep. I think one of the craziest things that happened is within like 3 days of me getting to Florence, like I checked in to the pensione that I was staying at, and then they took us to Rome for like our opening tour. And I did not have self-service or anything, so like if I got separated from everyone else, I was shit out of luck. Like I couldn't really speak Italian at all at that point. Like I was trying to learn it and teach myself, but like I could not hold conversations. I could not get around really. Did not have a map. Did not have cell service. Couldn't talk to anyone. Like this is kind of terrifying. And when I first got to Florence, I was like, okay, this city's pretty big. But everyone's like, oh no, it's not really that big. And I'm like, I don't really know about that. It seems pretty big. But then we get to Rome, and I'm like, no, Florence is tiny. Rome is absolutely massive. And they take us in a bus, and we get to our hotel. And then some people are like, oh, let's go kind of walk around the block, see what's there. And I walk out of the hotel, and I turn down the street, and we're walking down. And then I look to my left, and in between the buildings, I just see the Colosseum. And I'm like, what the heck? That's crazy. Like it's just in the middle of everything, like not separated. And I'm like, I could not imagine like living there and just walking by it the entire time. It's just part of their life. I'm like, what? That's so wild to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have anything special in the States.
We're just way too young of a country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we've been around. Like that's one of the biggest things is you just don't even understand just how recent the U.S. is even a thing.
Yeah, it's true. But we still celebrate its birthday, unlike any other country in the world.
Well, independence.
Yeah.
Independence Day
Oh,
still
that's
exists
true.
throughout the
Well,
country, throughout the world.
independence is like this is not whatever. Did you guys do anything on the
I
4th of
mean,
July? I feel like you guys are in areas of the country where like 4th of July is like it's like you might as well get the
Awesome.
whole week off work.
Yeah, dude. I think the same thing for Oklahoma, but Oklahoma allows you to buy fireworks, right?
well,
Can Kansas does the same. But the funny thing about Missouri, it does not allow the sale of fireworks. They limit it compared to Kansas. So I live in Kansas City. It's on the border between Missouri and Kansas. I can walk to the Kansas border right now. Could be like 5 minutes. So me, my brother, and my dad drive over to like this random shack that every year just kind of opens up and has tons of fireworks. And then the month, like by this point in the week, it's gone. By like June or July 8th, it's just gone. So we walk in, it's just racks upon racks of like fireworks, and we just buy tons of it. And at night, like this whole area just is lit up by fireworks. Like if you paid for a fireworks show, it wouldn't be as good as just me sitting in my backyard because if I look ahead, there's fireworks. Look behind me, there's fireworks. My right, my left, there's fireworks. 360, baby. And there's just people nonstop. And I live in the middle of the city. And let me be
Wow.
quite clear. I live in the middle of the city. I do not live by cornfields. I do not live in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere. I can see a skyscraper through my damn window right there. So don't anyone say I live in the boonies. That's mean. I don't take that.
Do you live in a
that
house or do you
way.
live in an apartment then?
I live in a house, bud. I live in like the old part of the city. Like they built these stuff in like in 1920. So yeah. And anyway, the point is, it's awesome. It's well worth it. I think I was texting people about it in Washington and in California, and like, yeah, we just got some barbecue food. We barbecued some food, and that's it.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
I was like,
nothing
that's
like it.
literally. I
It's
literally did literally nothing. I literally sat in my room and played video games all day.
damn, you
Dude,
missed out.
it's I have a very similar experience, but specifically in Mustang where I live, we have like one of the biggest um, firecracker stores. Like it's a super center, like
Awesome.
within miles. It's almost the size of a Walmart, and it's only filled with firecrackers. Like the amount of firecrackers that people buy in Mustang specifically is crazy, and they don't only celebrate on the 4th. Like the entire week, people are doing fireworks. So I
Oh
work.
yeah.
Have a serving job. Like Mustang is weird. There's not really like stores or anything like that. It's a very like suburban place, but like there's like a city center with like a grocery store, stuff like that. And I work like right near there, and the entire week I'm in there working. And as soon as it gets a little bit dark, people are just lighting fireworks works the entire night for hours on end. They're just blowing up the entire sky. And whenever I walk out, the the um the sky is smoky. Like you
Wow.
can see smoke sitting in the air the entire week. It's just smoky with how many fireworks people are going off. It's crazy.
And I bet you still hear a one or two every night.
Oh
People
yeah,
still have a few
they're
left.
still going on. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
It's 5 days before July 4th, 5 days after is what I always say. They
mhm.
start every day going forth. There's more and more and more forth. There's the most, and then slowly it goes back down.
Yeah, and
It's
the store closes usually around the 5th, so everyone goes in there on the last buy and basically cleans out the
yeah,
store, and then they just shoot them off for the next couple of days. It's crazy.
a kind of funny story for me. Monday, so the 3rd of July, I went downtown to a kind of like the science center to go do a viewing of a supermoon, which was that was really cool, really nice.
Mhm.
But we were on top of like a parking garage, which had a good view to the moon. And me and my friend were just standing there waiting in line to get in on top of the parking garage, and you could see in the distance on the Kansas side just multiple fireworks. There wasn't a minute that went by that you couldn't see a direct line to a firework going off. It was awesome, and I have family that live in used to live in Dallas, which everyone assumes in like Texas, it's the craziest, and it is, but in the big like central parts of like the big cities down there, they don't allow it at all because
Mhm.
they told me like there's situations that can get too crazy, but here in Missouri, like no cops are called, no one does a thing. As long as you're not burning down someone's house, no one cares. Like, and if you want to call the police on someone saying they had their fireworks out or they've been going on too long, they'll just tell you to go away because everyone in the city is firing fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
There's like you can't do anything about it, and it's the best. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think people who are like, "Oh, isn't that annoying?" No, it isn't. It's amazing, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else where you don't hear fireworks on 4th of July, and you can't see like some maniac who spent $2,000 on fireworks
Dude,
That's
shooting them
so
off.
crazy.
they're crazy. Some of them are so expensive. They just go all out. On the 4th specifically, I went down to
Yeah,
Norman, which is the town where University of Oklahoma is. But I have some friends that live
I have a
down
friend
there.
there. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I was down there, and I actually didn't watch the fireworks because I ended up going skateboarding, which I'd never done before. He just taught me how to do it. Super fun. Now I'm gonna get into doing that because I had such a blast. We just skated around the
Good
campus
man.
and
Good
stuff.
man.
Was super super cool.
You're gonna be like
So
that group of
after we,
skaters that's like always doing tricks off the freaking Mert stairs.
no, I can't do tricks like
It's
that.
gonna be you're just gonna be like
I
skating
just
all
like
around the front
riding.
of the Mert. Like
Yeah,
awkwardly
just
have
like
to walk
riding
by
and
them at the end of
rolling.
every choir.
Yeah. Um, but whenever we got back to his house, he was about 2 or 3 blocks down from the park where they were doing like the big um fireworks show that I think was put on by the city or something like that. So like that's the really big ones. Whenever the city gets involved, they spend so much money on the fireworks. But whenever the finale went off, I swear it lasted like 5 or 6 minutes of nonstop. Just it was shaking the house, unironically. Like we were sitting in the kitchen and it was like an earthquake was going on because it was just
Gosh.
explosions after explosion. Like, oh my goodness, this is crazy.
The we everyone in Kansas City says the Civil War has come back because where I'm from, like down the block, there's like a memorial plaque saying like the Battle of Westport, which was a battle during the Civil War, and it just sounds like the Civil War because fireworks are essentially just like the old style cannons, just gunpowder shooting something off, and it's super super crazy because people love it. I think a lot of people haven't. I don't think anyone really has an issue with it. I will say this: if you start firing them after 12 o'clock, people do get annoyed, but most people just kind of calm it down at that point because the cops do get called at that point. But yeah, I think Fourth of July needs to have fireworks. If you don't have fireworks, then you're
Nowhere
wasting your
near as
time.
fun. No,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a waste.
Have you
Taylor.
ever
Oh, go
like
ahead, Henry.
whenever you're shooting them off, have you guys ever had any like bad things happen?
I was
Because
just about to tell a story of that. I was
one
just about
story
to
that
tell a
I
story of
have,
that happened this year
uh,
with Taylor and Uriah.
oh, this year, I'll let
This
you go
year.
first then.
Okay,
More
great.
recent.
So I saw a video of it, but Taylor and Uriah went to spend time with Uriah's family, um, and they have a really crazy fireworks show, like a super crazy fireworks show. And they have like his Uriah has like a lot of family and family friends and stuff like that, and so they all get together and they all shoot off fireworks, and they're all like acting silly and goofy because the two of them are just silly and goofy. And I don't know, either one of the fireworks just didn't go like shoot, or it like shot and didn't explode and then fell back on the ground. But there was a firework that like did like the big explosion with like all the little crackles and stuff like that fired on the ground right next to them. And he caught it on video. And it was like freaky. It was really, it's funny when you look back on it, but like probably was like really freaky because it was like, I mean, it probably went off like 20 yards away from him. Like it was pretty close.
Yeah.
And it was like the big one that just like boom, like in the sky with all the crackles. That just one of those just went off in the lawn. I can't believe it didn't like the lawn didn't catch on fire or anything.
So my
That
story is a little similar. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Oh, so whenever I was younger, my grandparents have a nursery in Clinton, which is another town in Oklahoma. But me and a bunch of my family were over there, and we were all shooting at fireworks. But we had one of the ones that shot up. I think it was like, I forget the number. It's been a while, but it was like probably 8 to 10 of the ones that shoot up in the air and explode, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever, I forget exactly who was lighting it, but they lit it and they started to run back to come watch it, and they knocked it over, and it all turned, and the entire face of it was pointing towards everyone in the audience who was just standing
Oh,
underneath the carport. So then it was
yeah.
just 12 that just shot straight at us, and it was just like, I don't know, it's like all the fireworks were shooting straight at us, and they like hit the back of the carport and bounced around and then came back out, and it was just shooting into the entire crowd.
was there
There's probably
no
like,
like injuries or anything?
no, we didn't get hit.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Them's the
Like,
That's
we
like
big
a
might have
little
got,
ones.
like,
scary,
limbs or
low
something like
key.
that. I was like, damn, that's crazy.
That's like a little scary. Nothing was like damaged or anything. It was just like,
I think it was a little bit singed, but nothing caught on fire. If it did, it got put out.
And
Like,
that's the thing. There's a misconception that people think like fireworks are essentially bombs. They're not. They're literally just like a thing that fires it up, which is like propelling it upwards, and then they have like a few balls that are surrounded in them, and then they just explode outwards. Like literally, it is just a chemical explosion.
right. I don't think
It
it's a
puffs. It
bomb,
just
but it's
puffs.
also flammable. So like,
It's only flammable if it's directly on you. Like theoretically, if there's a one that's like fires like a good like 10 feet away from me, and I'm looking the other way, unless you're looking straight at it, you're usually fine because the sparks may hit you, like the projection may come at you, but those are supposed to like dissipate like almost immediately. They're only for show. They're not
Yeah.
supposed to actually like do any damage. That's what I mean. And I'll be honest, like personally, my dad, he's a doctor, so he always says Fourth of July is the most interesting night of the whole year because every single night, without a doubt, there's some guy that like this is gone, his arm's gone, like his hand's gone, just blown off. A few that like you like put your hand right here, it's like his thumb's still there, but all of this is gone. Like his hand is like in like going like this because like the skin flapped this way. Like you're like some guy like there's if fireworks if they do come at you and explode on you, they will hurt you or kill you. One like it's not the time where like one came right at this guy near his lungs, broke all his rib cage, like full on like explosion. Another one where like he had to chop off his leg. That's another one. It's like fireworks are dangerous.
Yeah.
Never not be safe around them. But essentially, if you're not stupid, you're fine. That's what I've always been told. And like the biggest thing like I would be fearful of are like Roman candles, which if you don't know what those are, they're just a long circular stick, and there's one end and there's another end. You hold this end, and the other end just shoots out fire bombs. And, like this is like the most basic form of like warfare back like the 800s or like even earlier. You just have a stick. Yes. Yeah. You have a stick that fires fire bombs at people. Now the point of it is supposed to shoot it upwards or away from you. But people forget which side is which, and they'll grab on, and then bam, their hand's gone.
It's also fun.
How do you, I feel like it's obvious though. Why would you?
No, they're not. Some of them are, some of them not. Like this shit is. Some of this stuff is made cheaply. Some of it's made well. You got to be aware of that as well.
Mm-hmm. As long as like you're not really stupid, it's very hard to get injured. But where the injuries comes from is people drink too much and then they try to light fireworks off and then they get injured.
Yeah.
If you're just smart about it, I feel like there's not hardly any chance of injury, in my opinion, or very slim chance. I know people that like have fights with Roman candles. They like aim them at each other.
Why?
Which is so stupid.
Kind of fun.
That'll burn you.
Dude, one of the Henrys is just, dude, this is like good and bad cop here with the two Henrys. One of the Henrys is like, don't do that, that'll kill you. And the other Henry's like, actually, you just gotta do it, it's kind of fun.
Fight duel with Roman candles, that is funny. That is cool. But you may die. Just be aware of that.
But you may die.
Like, it is not smart. It is the exact thing that I said not to do. Like, be smart with it. It's not smart. Kind of funny though.
And I love the good old boys, like the older guys. Because one time, I was like at my grandparents' like neighborhood, which is a few blocks away from me, and there's this old guy. And he's like, one 4th of July, like 5 years ago, he handed me like this big, like it's almost basically a grenade. They're supposed to put in like these tubes that'll shoot up. But he just handed it to me. I was like, all right, I'm going to light this. I want you to throw it into the storm drainage thing, like those little things in the street. And it's like, it'll get rid of the rats. We blow up rats that way. And I'm like, okay. So we did it. I threw it in there. It made a huge explosion. Like there's sparks that came out this way out of the drainage pipe. It was awesome. Like that was cool. But that is like the best way. That's the best way 4th of July can be. It's like on one hand, you can be smart about fireworks and they just shoot up to the air and look pretty. And there's the fucking funny way where you just throw them into like drainage pipes and like at random stuff and they explode and it's funny. So yeah, there you go.
That increases the chance of injury though, but it's very enjoyable.
It's like you might die, but you'll die a happy man.
Exactly.
No, you won't die happy. You'll die in pain, but
you will be happy when you saw the cool part.
Exactly.
Yeah. So dumb. Oh my god.
That's the best way of living your 4th of July, though.
I agree.
Like,
I really do. Everyone should experience the 4th of July like that at least once.
Yeah.
Like a stupid
It's
4th
so
of July?
Just the 4th of July, wherever you have your own fireworks and can shoot them off. It's a completely different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can just do fun stuff with it.
When I lived in Ferndale, we had most of the kids in the neighborhood. We actually got lucky, like with the neighborhood, where most of the kids were very similar in age, and so all of the families and we lived in a cul-de-sac too, which was even better. And so all of the families would like put their lawn chairs at the base of their driveways, and then all the kids would run out, light the fireworks, and run back, and it was really fun. Like we had
Yeah,
we had a
that's
lot
how
of
it is.
people who were like plus or minus 2 years from me in the neighborhood, and so it was like you could really just like now we're all in college, but like back then like the neighborhood was like everyone was in each other's backyards and stuff like that. Like we were all like really good friends because we were also similar in age and like all went to the same schools and that kind of thing. So we were pretty blessed with that. But yeah, it made for 4th of July really fun because we never went to fireworks shows. We always set off our own fireworks in the cul-de-sac. Way more fun.
Yeah.
Way more fun.
Speaking of cul-de-sacs, when I was younger, I actually lived in Missouri for a little bit. I lived in Columbia, Missouri, for I think 3 to
Mizzou?
4 years. Yeah. My dad was doing, I think, he was in medical school at the time, so he's going through one of his parts that he had to do. I don't think it was his residency because we did that in Pennsylvania, but we were in Columbia for 3 to 4 years, and we also lived on a cul-de-sac. And when I was like probably between the ages where I was like 5 to around 8, I believe, whenever we moved to Pennsylvania. So like 4-ish to 8, I would say, is the time that I was there. But I used to ride my scooter down the cul-de-sac and around there. I rode it all the time. And in my memory, the hill to our cul-de-sac was huge. Like I would go to the top of that and I would ride my scooter down and I would be going so fast. Like in my mind, this hill was so long and super steep and it was super fun to do. And that is the memory I held. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Columbia again. I guess it's been a little bit longer now, almost a month ago. I was in Columbia again for my aunt's wedding, and my family was like, "Hey, let's just drive by our old house, just see it." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." So we drive past it, and looking at the cul-de-sac, it was the biggest letdown I have ever experienced. I was like, "Dude, this cul-de-sac is so lame. It was so small." I'm like, "Man, in my head, way cooler. Nothing."
Wait, so there was no hill?
It was like a tiny hill. Like
Hill.
the incline over, like, maybe climbed 7 feet and like however long it was, maybe like 15 feet or something like that. Like it was not steep at all. It was really small.
Our
Like,
cul-de-sac
does not live up to my memory.
So the way it worked is like the entrance to the street that our cul-de-sac was on was at the top of the hill, and our cul-de-sac was at the bottom. And that hill, I mean, wasn't the steepest thing in all mankind, but for like 8-year-olds riding scooters, I mean, I was, every time I go back to Ferndale, like one of my close friends, she lives on that street, and so I would see that hill, and it's not like crazy steep, but it's definitely like a longer road with a much higher incline, like a 30-degree incline over the entire road. It was pretty lit for riding bikes and stuff like that at the top of the street all the way down. Like it was a pretty big hill. So it was like you go up to the top of the cul-de-sac and then ride down into the cul-de-sac, and then you'd have like a buffer of like, you could like get down to the bottom, and then you could like do a couple loops to like slow down and stuff like that. It was good.
Yeah.
The cul-de-sac was lit. I'm trying to be aware of the fact that like we all only really had like an hour, and we're at like 53 minutes, and we kind of had this tradition of like, we kind of like end every episode with like a short game. And I was thinking we could do the game where it's like everyone, like one person says a word and then you each like make a story. Like everyone says you say the next word and then like keep making stories. I feel like that could be interesting.
Down to try it.
We could. I mean, it might be a complete colossal flop, but I mean, with 5 minutes, I think
funny.
It'll be funny. It could potentially be very funny, so we could try it and see what happens. I guess I'll start, and I'll say once. Oh, that's just. Here's what's also confused. Like, how do we figure out who goes in what order? Because like, we'll go me, bass Henry, tenor Henry. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, so once.
Okay. Upon.
A.
Mattress.
I don't think we do mattress there. I think that kind of just ruins everything.
Well, we're riding with it now. We're riding with it now.
Okay. Okay.
Once upon a mattress, I
Lived
In
a
big.
mattress.
no.
Okay. No, I don't think you can do that one.
Once upon a mattress, I lived in a big mattress.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What?
Whatever.
What'd you say?
The
Okay.
Scariest.
Bug.
was
Climbing.
Inside.
the
Dogs.
Uh, 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 um, trying not to make it inside the dog's throat. Henry's face. Henry Taylor's face. He's just like, oh.
he
Unfortunately,
Choked.
and
died.
Then,
I
Tried.
did you say cried or tried?
Tried. With a
Tried.
T. Yeah.
Wearing
his
Skin.
it
was
Kinda.
comfy.
all
Around.
My
mattress.
okay. If there's one mattress thing that didn't make sense, it was that one. It was comfy all
No,
around
I
my
think-
mattress.
I thought that the mattress was his house or like something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, well, like wearing it around the mattress. Oh, I get it. I just ruined it. That's funny. Okay,
Yeah,
let's do
that's
one
really
more.
good.
Like completely start over.
Okay.
And Henry Tenor, you can start.
Long.
Ago.
I
Discovered.
I can't say that. I discovered. I discovered. Pineapples.
on
My.
Rear.
okay.
That's your word? Okay.
I stored pineapples on my rear.
Mm-hmm.
Headlight. Or
What?
tail light. My rear.
No, it just ended on
I'm
my
trying
rear.
to think.
And then it's Henry's turn. It ended on rear.
Oh.
Rear was one word. I just said rear. I discovered
Yeah.
long ago. I discovered pineapples on my rear.
And
Okay, great. Rear end.
I.
Got
tools
Sorry, what was that word?
tools. I
Tool-
think like
tools?
TOOLS.
You.
Replace.
rear.
It sucks.
All right, we've hit an hour. So thank you guys so much for listening to the GleeSpeak podcast. That was an interesting way to end it. Thanks, Henry, for coming on the podcast for the first time.
Thank you for having me. It was a
Hopefully
good
we can have you more often. You were like kind of the reason the podcast kind of got off the ground, because like we both wanted to start this podcast from a shared deep love for a similar podcast that kind of functions in the same way. So thanks for finally making time to come on the podcast.
It was very fun. Man, I tried, dude. I'm just busy. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have you guys. You'll come back for more. And it'll be exciting when we get back on. I mean, we're like 5-6 weeks out from recording episodes in person on campus, which will be sick. So
Very true.
we're just biding time until then. Hope you all had a great 4th of July. Keep following us on Instagram and subscribing on YouTube and following on Spotify so that we can start gaining traction. How cool would it be if our Glee Club podcast hit other choir people not at Gonzaga, because we're just funny choristers, just like chilling. But thank you guys so much for watching or listening, depending on where you did it, and we'll see you back for next week's episode. Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.